Hey guys, it's Stasia. Welcome back to my channel, Reader C. So today I've just flipped. I'm no longer in front of my bookshelf. I am on the floor today because that's just what I felt like doing. So today, obviously based on the title, we will be doing the mid-year freakout book tag. So I have chosen books for all of these questions. There are 13 questions, and yeah, let's get started. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2020. For that, I chose Serpent and Dove. This book completely surprised me. I read it for the owls just for a prompt because everyone was loving it. I'm not usually a fantasy person at all, but this book took me by surprise and I loved it so much. It's about a witch and a witch hunter being forced to get married, and it's just drama and secrets and unexpected turns. I love it. Bouncing off of that, the second question is the best sequel you have so far read in 2020. I've actually read quite a few sequels, which I'm surprised about. I'm very bad with keeping up with series or finishing them, but this year I finished 2 of my favorite trilogies and I couldn't pick one. So I went with, of course, Finale and Obsidio. If you don't know my absolute love for the world of Caraval, you clearly don't know me, but yes, the wrap up of this entire trilogy, I was so sad to see it get wrapped up because I love the characters, I love the world, but the final adventure of the Dragna sisters, I couldn't get enough of it. I even reread the first 2, still love those completely and loved it. And same can be said for Obsidio. The characters that have been introduced throughout this trilogy, I love them to pieces. Ezra Mason will always be my book crush. I can't. All of the characters, they're just so bold and so confident, and I love them. I love the way they all hang out, the way they all have authentic friendships. It isn't overplayed. They're really chill with each other. I love this. I did not actually enjoy Gemina as much as I enjoyed Illuminae, but Obsidio definitely is a very great wrap up of all 3 of them. I'm currently reading the next series by this duo, Amy Kaufman and Jake Kristoff, which is the Aurora Rising. Loving that so far. I love this duo. They're amazing together. The audiobooks are great, but yeah. The next question is a new release that you want to read but have not read yet. And that would need to be Clap When You Land. I read The Poet X by the same author. I absolutely loved it. I will continuously rave about that book, and I've read it years ago. And with Fire on High, I own it. I have not read it yet, but this one I've heard amazing things about Clap When You Land, and I'm super excited to get back into her writing. I know it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna get it soon, just don't know when. And then yeah, we'll go from there. The next one is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that would need to be the sequel of Serpent and Dove, which is Blood and Honey. I've seen people have gotten arcs of them and they're saying it's even better than the first, so I'm super excited. I've already loved Serpent and Dove, so I cannot wait to see what is in store for Blood and Honey. I think it's coming out in October. I could be wrong, not too sure if it got pushed back or anything like that. But I'm super excited for that. The way that Serpent and Dove left off, I can't wait to get my hands on Blood and Honey and see what the author is going to be doing next. The next question is the biggest disappointment, and if you have been keeping up with my videos, you'll know that I was really disappointed with this book, and for that I chose To All the Boys I Loved Before. Unfortunately, it was just the first book. It didn't do it for me. I did continue with the series and very much enjoyed it. So the trilogy as a whole it's good, but this first book I didn't like it. I'm not sure why. I mean, maybe because I watched the movie first, but with this, I didn't really like the characters as much. I know they're the same characters as in the movie, but the way that they were portrayed in the book, I didn't like their personalities as much as they were portrayed on screen. So this had to have been my biggest disappointment, just because I've read Jenny Han's summer trilogy and I loved it. I could not wait to get more of her writing. Unfortunately, this first book definitely did disappoint me, but it was still good, which says a lot. That just means that I've been reading good books this year, but yeah, biggest disappointment so far. The next question is a book that surprised you the most. And of course, I'm going to go back to Serpent and Dove because I'm not a fantasy person. I'm really not. It's really a hit or miss. Like, up until here, the only fantasy I liked was basically Caraval. Like, that was the only series that I was in love with that was fantasy based. And this fantasy and witches, it didn't speak to me at all. Picked it up on a whim because of the readathon that I did, and I was so pleasantly surprised to the point where I pre-ordered the second book, which hardly ever happens. I do not pre-order much, but yeah, so this was definitely my biggest surprise. If you have not read it, highly recommend it. It's quite the adventure. If you have read it, let me know if you liked it, because I know that some people just didn't like it. It just wasn't for them, which is totally fine. But yeah, if you've read it, let me know your thoughts. Next is your favorite new to you author. So this year, I've read my first Riley Sager book, and I loved it. The twists and the turns, some of it I could have lived without, but the ending just wrapped it all up. Cannot wait to read more books from this author. I've already picked up a couple, so I'm hoping to get to those soon. I've already heard really great things about this author, so I wasn't expecting anything less, because I've just heard great things. But reading it myself and finally giving in, I loved. Newest fictional crush. Now, to save you guys from me mentioning Serpent and Dove again, although Reed is a king, like, I love him, I'm actually going to go with Jamie from Yes, No, Maybe So. And the reason I'm choosing him is because Becky Albertalli did a really good job of making him realistic. Like, his little quirks and how he's kind of awkward, it's just, I loved it. His overall personality in the book is just so sweet. But yeah, I fell in love with him the second I started that book, and I guess, yeah. My newest favorite character. So my newest favorite character will also be from Serpent and Dove, and I would need to choose Lou. She is just such an amazing main character, all about girl power. She's so for herself, and I love it. Her growth from the beginning to the end of the book, loved. I cannot get enough of Lou. She has such an amazing personality, and sometimes in the book, she definitely reminded me of myself. So yeah, I can't wait to see more of her. So next we have a book that made you cry. Although I didn't cry, I have not cried to any books this year, but Sadie brought me pretty close to it. The storyline and just the overall message in what is happening and what gets discovered, it's really heartbreaking for me, the situation. And it wasn't what I expected at all, which is weird because this is a thriller, which it is a thriller. It definitely is. But the overall message, I guess you could say, it was a pretty sad one. Then on the other side of that, it's a book that made you happy, which I'm going to have to pull out Finale again, just because, like I've said, this is my favorite trilogy. I have a shelf dedicated to the entire trilogy of Caraval, so I'm definitely going to be doing a tour of that soon. But yeah, that is just how much I love this series. So to have finally picked up the trilogy again and finish it off with this amazing beauty, I I was happy. Next is the most beautiful book you've bought so far. And since I don't want to do finale back to back, although it is gorgeous, I'm going to have to go back to Serpent and Dove. This cover is literally my favorite. Like, this cover is to die for. I love it so much. And the second book looks even greater. I love the theme that she's keeping, like the same aspect where it's blood and honey and it's still the snake. And I love it. I know all the books are going to look gorgeous together and I cannot wait to get my hands on the second one. Okay, the last question is a book I really need to read by the end of the year. And for that, I'm going to choose Scythe because this has been on my TBR for like 3 months in a row and I still have not read it. I've heard amazing things and I'm so excited to read it. Every month, I just never seem to find the time. So it's kind of driving me insane. But I need to read this book by the end of the month. Especially because I have, like, there's a Discord chat for it. So I want to read this. It just never happens. So we'll need to see. All right, guys. That's all the questions in the tag. If you would like to do the tag yourself, I tag you because I wasn't tagged, but I still did it. But I'll leave all the questions down below in the description if you would like to check them out. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. How's your first half of the year? And let me know down in the comments if you have any new releases that you're really excited to read or books that are going to be released in the second half of the year that you're really excited about. But yeah, so just let me know. Just like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.